Hello, everyone. Welcome. New week, new you, new opportunities. Welcome to the Greatness Game, everyone. Welcome in. Grab a glass of wine or some tea or some Oreos or something delicious that you want to sip on or eat for the next 15 or 20 minutes while we have a little date. So I'm so looking forward to our time tonight because it is a topic that I love practicing. We all practice this, whether we know it or not. And it's a muscle that we can get better and better and better at. So we are talking about resiliency and being resilient and being a resilient leader in our family, in our community, in our businesses. And so welcome to the Greatness Game. My name is Dina Patton, and I'm owner of the Greatness Training and author of the Greatness Game. And I do this every night because I love being with you guys. It is also my love language of words and my connection. So it's such a blessing to meet with friends, clients, Facebook friends across the country, actually around the world here. So super excited about being with you and super blessed. Like I am just so present to being grateful. I am just holding myself accountable and holding myself in a space of being grateful for the littlest things, for the big things. And I think that's a big thing for everybody right now is feeling grateful for the toilet paper you have, for the home that you have, for the connections, all the little things, all the big things. And so such a attitude and mindset of gratefulness right now. And it helps because where we're going, our future needs us, our past doesn't. So we have to remember everything we do today, it sets our future up to win or fail. So welcome in, come on in for a little greatness game, few minutes this afternoon or this evening. And my daughter actually did my hair and makeup. Hey, I can say that I have a hair and makeup person now. She came in my office today and said she was practicing her own hair and makeup and she said, "Can I do your hair and makeup?" And I said, "Sure, I'll leave it on and make sure that it's not like crazy. And I'll leave it on for my Facebook Live." So there you go. Hair and makeup by Allie Patton. I love that. So tonight we are talking about being resilient. And if you are leading a business, if you are leading a family, being resilient is very important right now. And I think it is one of those tools in your tool belt that you have to bring forward right now because where we are as far as leaders, especially whether that's a family or it's a team, it's a business, being resilient and leading from a space of resiliency is very, very needed right now. And it's really the difference between, being a fighter and being a victim. We can all slip into being a victim very quickly. Our mindset, that smallness side of us can slip right into being a victim. So this is such a greatness game. Resiliency is such a greatness game. So I want to just touch on a couple things that will just trigger you into like, oh yeah, I am a total badass in resiliency. Like you already are, but we forget, right? And then we forget we have the tools. We forget we have this training. We forget because our mindset is, sometimes triggered by the emotions that we're having. So those emotions get in the way and then we react versus respond with the tools we have. We react with the emotions we have, right? So that's one of the biggest disciplines that I'm going to encourage you and coach you in on these lives. And if you've caught the last 15 of my lives, every single topic is every single night is a different topic. So go check those out by topic. So if you are, really like, I've got to hold myself to leadership, I've got to lead my family or lead my team or lead my company through this, then this live is for you. And please share it with anybody else. So first and foremost, what I've already mentioned is our emotions. What pulls us away from our resiliency and our tools for resiliency is our emotions. And those emotions, it's one of the hardest things about being a human being is you want to honor your emotions. You want to, still have your emotions, but not become your emotions. And it takes discipline and it takes mindfulness of saying, I'm really scared right now, and I'm not going to become fear, right? And so how to process those emotions in a healthy way so you can honor them and actually see, what those emotions need to tell you. But it's not completely derailing your leadership and your resiliency and those tools that you have to lead through. So first and foremost is have a structure, whether it's journaling, it's praying, it's talking it, maybe you have a couple of people in your support circle where when big emotions come up and it wants to derail you and derail that resiliency that you have a way to process those feelings. What I say is have your feelings, don't be your feelings, don't become your feelings, don't let them consume you. So taking a breath and honoring like, oh my gosh, I'm really scared right now, or I'm anxious, or I'm excited, I also, one of the big coping mechanisms that I think we all have is eating. And I think I've seen 100 memes about the Corona 15. Everyone's going to gain 15 pounds. But, and that's okay. If you do, you do. But when I was learning my coping mechanism, one of them, my old coping mechanism, was eating. And I put a sign in my refrigerator that said, what you're looking for is not in here. And, when we are a leader and when you have a team and employees, some of my clients have 50, 60, 100 employees. You have that many people looking at you. In normal times is hard, but in challenging times, it's really hard to keep to your positive coping mechanisms and stay resilient and keep your eyes on the ball. So that was one of my things, is I was breaking myself from every time I got nervous, I'd go to the refrigerator or go to food, and I was breaking that habit. And instead I would look, this is, it's more of a counseling thing of looking at that feeling that's derailing you, instead of like going to the refrigerator, actually looking at, what am I feeling right now? Oh, I'm feeling anxious. Okay, what can I do about that? So that's definitely number one. Anything that's going to throw you away from resilience and into victim is the beginning of that is those emotions. So honoring that and knowing how to look at them and honor them. The second tip that I want to give you around really being a powerful, resilient leader right now is what I call an anchor. So the analogy I use is like everybody's on a boat, right? And some people know where their boat's going. They have a shore. They're like I'm going over there, or I'm going over there. Like they have a place that they're leading their boat, right? And then there's some people who that don't. They're not lost. They're just wandering. They're just enjoying being on the boat, right? And that's okay. And then there's people who aren't wandering, but they're not leading either. They don't have that eye on the shore. They don't know where they're going. They are lost. And then the people with an anchor, where right now, an anchor is a word, or it's a phrase, or it's a value that you can anchor yourself into. So a lot of my clients are finding that leading from their values, hire, fire, and lead from your values. Let me say it again, hire, fire, and lead from your values. It is where great leadership comes from, is your values. Pull those values up front and center and lead from your values. And maybe there's only one or two values that you need to really anchor into and lead from that. But maybe you don't have values. Maybe it's your faith. Maybe it's a word from the year, right? Like some people choose a word for their year. Or it's a word that you are just finding some joy in right now. So that word or that phrase can be your anchor. And part of being resilient is counting on your tools and your training, your resiliency, and not letting your emotions derail you, or any new news derail you, because you have anchors. So anchoring yourself, in a word, whether that's a word like connection or joy or a value. A couple of my clients last week, I really was, my theme as a business coach was to help every one of my clients not just pivot their business. Maybe they're pivoting their business and their delivery. Sometimes it was not pivoting that, it was just pivoting the marketing. But every leader right now has some anxiety, because it's uncertain, right? It's uncertain. So what is certain is your word for the year, is your values, your faith, your tools on your tool belt are certain. So that's what I want to keep reminding you of. You are already born with tons of greatness. You are born with resiliency. You have done so many hard things in your life, right? But things can rock us and push us, and hard news and emotional news and then they layer. What if 2 or 3 of those happen, in a day or in the week? So what I want you to know is that you have this in you, and you have tools on your tool belt. We have to remember to refocus in what we know is certain. And you know yourself best. You know how powerful you are. You know what tools you have. You know leadership. You know you are born with greatness. But you have to pull it forward and apply it, right? You have to apply it. And so I was talking to someone today. One of the biggest blessings that's come out of this is, the connection, the reconnection that everyone's having. And I had such a great conversation with someone today, and we were just talking about creativity. That this a little bit more space right now is giving some people some sparks of creativity. And creativity is such a process. It's not a task. Right? So if you have some added time right now, maybe you are less busy, this is such a beautiful time to tap into your creativity. And there is actually statistics show that out of every crisis that has been in the last 100 years, that more creativity is created in the world in crisis. And so whether it's song or it's scripts or it's books or it's art, or it's poetry, it's such a powerful way to practice that resiliency and just your gifts. So having that anchor, having that word, that phrase, maybe it's a Bible passage or your faith, maybe there's something in your faith that you can anchor yourself in right now to really spur that resiliency. And most importantly is your greatness mindset, that I will lead from my greatness mindset, that commitment, that choice every single day, even when it's hard. I cannot say enough, in the face of anything, divorce, disease, devastation, who you're going to be, who are you going to be in the face of not being able to pay that bill, or being able, who are you going to be laying those 10 people off? You can still do it with grace and love, right? So I keep hearing from different groups and leadership things that I am part of. And, unfortunately right now, there's a lot of layoffs. And my challenge to you as leaders and anybody that's having any kind of hard conversations, my question to you is, who are you going to be? Are you going to be great in that conversation? Are you going to be love? Are you going to be, encouraging? Are you going to be, there's tons of words you can choose from. And so my encouragement to you is, when you're being resilient, when you're tapping into that problem solving mode that you already have, you just have to remember that you have. You have to remember, what tool do I need right now to get through this one problem I'm having, or this challenge, or this layoff, or this pivot in my business? What do I need right now in that pivot? There's one or two answers. So it is a call. I'm calling your resiliency forward, and I'm pushing back your victim, and I'm asking you to solve the problems. And maybe there is no problems, which is awesome, right? But if you do have a problem in your business, a challenge in your life, a hard thing that you are dealing with, besides the overarching, right? The overarchingness, heaviness of this, but I mean it specifically, is I want you to get in action. That's my third tip here, is action. So welcome in. Hello, Bethany. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Patricia. Mwah. Hi, Allie. Welcome, welcome. So the third tip is action. And if you've gotten in action, you already know. And maybe, the first couple of weeks it was rocking and everybody was uncertain and it was kind of like hunker down. And then you got in action this last week, right? And you pulled up those tools, you pulled up your leadership, and you got in action around something, one thing that needed to be solved. That's what resiliency is about, is I'm going to solve this one problem. Don't solve 5 problems, solve one problem. So that really is my message today. Tomorrow, I'm going to also speak on resiliency in these in 3 specific things that I'm going to be speaking from a book that I love. And because I just really want to just ignite something. I want to ignite your leadership, ignite that you remember how powerful you are, and that resiliency is not some like weird, thing off in the distance. It's a choice, and greatness is a choice. Greatness mindset is a choice. You can say right now, I am done. Smallness, it will derail you, and maybe you're a great leader all day long, and then all of a sudden you got derailed by emotions, right? Or got derailed by some bad news. But who are you going to be in that bad news? Can you still deal with it from your leadership? You are amazing. Your gifts, your love, your power, your greatness, all of your experience. So I want to just remind you how powerful you are, that whether this goes on 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 more months, there's some overcoming to do. There's going to be a lot of overcoming to do. If you need a system right now in your life, like maybe you are just like laying low on the couch every day, and you need to kind of get yourself going. Then you know what? I'll say this. Go to Pinterest. I have, oh my gosh, so many boards on Pinterest. I have over 30 boards on Pinterest, but you just use the search bar in Pinterest and look up a word that you need. If you need more home habits or resiliency or, any charts or system, I swear Pinterest has so many great resources, charts, checklists, anything that you need is on Pinterest. And so I do recommend that as a resource for these kind of things. So the challenge tonight is decide on what 1 or 2 anchors you will have. So if that is, like I said, a value or it's a faith, one of my anchors is God. That is where I can anchor into, I can count on. It is certain for me, right? And there's certain values of mine that I am certain and I am strong on. It is something I can hold on to like an anchor, right? Don't hold on to the things that cause you pain. Don't hold on to the things that are uncertain. That's just going to make you spin more. Hold on to, anchor into things that you can count on, right? That's what's going to help you step forward into action, more certainty. Action creates certainty. Action creates confidence. So one of the things that anytime that I'm coaching someone in speaking, like someone, if they've never spoke before, done public speaking, I'll tell you, version 1 is always better than version none. You can sit and version none, do nothing, and spin in your head. You're not getting any practice or confidence that way. So this is the time to step into something. Version 1. It's okay. Do version 1. It's going to be a little wonky or a little, version 1-ish, but it's okay. Then version 2, then version 3. So keep going in that, and action creates confidence. So that's what I want to see. I want to encourage is action. Hold on to your anchors. Have grace with yourself. Remember, you are an amazing leader with tools on your tool belt. Pull them out. And if you need resources, checklists, stuff like that, Pinterest. I promise you, look me up, Dina Patton on Pinterest. I have a ton of different boards for different topics, and I'd love to, pin tons of things there. So, all right, you guys, resiliency, section 2, tomorrow night, 3 amazing tips around building your resiliency, building your leadership. And I'm going to have a couple more resources for you too. So have a great night. Mwah! Thank you for joining me on the Greatness Game. See you guys tomorrow night. Bye.